That's always so disrespectful, but I appreciate it because we're
But we are
family.
live. That's
We
right.
are live. Episode
Bringing the
6 of the
fire.
pod. Bring the heat. Gotta get right for this. Gotta be a 70-year-old assassin in this piece right here.
I gotta.
On
That's
this
right. I gotta do
episode,
the
we're
Ric
talking
Flair. Woo! I don't want to go right into the mic. I'm gonna blow some eardrums out.
exactly. This is episode 6. We're talking about The Old Man on Hulu. But first, John, what happens?
The intro happens, son. Hit it.
There you go.
Welcome to Streamophile, the show where John and Ben watch the latest on all streaming platforms and let you know whether to stream it or skip it. We stream everything, so you don't have to.
All right, guys. So as we said in the intro, there we're talking about The Old Man on Hulu. I recommended this show to John a couple weeks ago. Look, it's hard to watch series when you have life happening, right? We talk about this all the time. So we try to make the space and maybe not binge it because this is not a bite-sized show. This is 7 episodes averaging about an hour and 8 minutes each. So,
Mm-hmm.
pace yourself with this one. If you have kids, if you are not ready, if you
You
are
have a
not ready
job.
for
You know,
a
living
life, like
life.
got plans, doing a DIY project. This is one of those end of the night. Oh, let's watch an episode type of thing. But yeah, man. Before we get into the whole thing, John, let us know the synopsis and the cast, my brother.
Oh man. First of all, I knew from the beginning that this was a setup. All this BS about man. You're a better live reader than I am. I may be so until it comes to reading cast members' names. But anyway, let's get into the synopsis for the old man. The old man centers on Dan Chase, who absconded from the CIA decades ago. Well, I can't say decades. Let's try that one more time, huh? Shall we, Mr. Great Live Reader? The old man centers on Dan Chase, who absconded from the
Almost did a
CIA
almost did a spit
decades
take there.
ago
Almost did a spit take.
and has
Sorry,
been
guys.
living off the grid since. When an
Mm-hmm.
assassin arrives and tries to take Chase out, the old operative learns that to ensure his future, he now must reconcile his past. Wow, that
Yeah,
was the easy part,
it's
and
a
I
long
screwed that up. So
synopsis.
let's
That's
see how bad I'm going to screw up the cast. So Dan Chase, who is a man that goes by many names, since he's a former CIA operative, is played by Jeff Bridges, being
mm-hmm.
as Jeff Bridges as you've ever seen him,
Yeah.
and he's a
Mm,
hell of an actor,
mm. Yeah, lot of
and does the
lot of
same here.
humming, lot of
A
humming
lot of yeah,
in
a
this.
lot of humming, a lot of grunting, and yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
that's a Jeff Bridges
That's
trait.
Jeff Bridges. That's bridge going bridge, baby. Bridge going bridge.
Bridge go bridge. Amy Brenneman plays
Yeah.
Zoe, and you see her maybe towards at some point in early in the series. I
Second
wish I would have
episode,
seen more of
I
her.
think.
Yeah, we'll talk more about
Yes.
that. And here comes the royal screw up. His daughter
Many
Emily
names
is
as well.
Angela. Well, it's played by Aaliyah Shawkat. Shawkat.
Well,
Shawkat.
sounds good. Yeah, we'll go with it.
Shawkat.
Shotcat.
I tried a couple of different ones. I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Harold Harper, who is the FBI agent assigned to bring Chase down, is played by John Lithgow, who
Royalty.
is royalty. And I mean, you got two powerhouses there, and they don't
Mm-hmm.
disappoint.
Nope.
Young Dan Chase is played by Bill Heck. So obviously, there are flashbacks going back and forth, kind of, well, we'll get into it later, but
Mm-hmm.
uh, showing the history between them two and what leads us to, well, why we have a series. Young, oh my goodness, Abby. So Dan Chase's wife is played by Leem
Mm,
Lubany.
mm.
Gosh,
This
Lubany. Forgive me,
uh,
I am trying.
I'm gonna go with
And
Lubani. I just feel
young
like Lubani
Khadijah
sounds better.
could be Lubani. Young Khadijah, which is I
Mm,
believe her sister, is played by
mm-hmm.
Noor Razuki. And let's see, are there people that I'm leaving out? There are,
Yes. The one that
right.
Dan
So I
chases
mean,
like Yeah. Well, you don't. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There, there's
Young Dan Chase.
Faraz Hamzad. Yes, I young
Yes.
Dan Chase is
Yeah.
played by Bill Heck. Faraz Hamzad, who I guess was called the bad guy, is played by Pej Vadat. Morgan Boats is played by Joel Gray. Raymond Waters, EJ Bonilla. Joe, who's another guy, part of the FBI team. Harold Harper's team is played by Kenneth Mitchell. Am I leaving anyone here out? The attorney, played by Nina Kruger. Julian Carson,
Oh yeah,
played
she
by
was yeah.
she was there. I wanted to make sure. Julian Carson
Mhm.
is played by, oh my goodness, I'm gonna say that's a silent G, Benga Akinabe. Jesus. Wow.
You
I
just made
know
the
why you
decision.
did this.
I'm gonna say it's.
I made an executive decision. I'm gonna say it's a silent G, and he's, you know, hey. And I'm gonna leave it at that. There's a few other people, but that's the majority of the cast. Those are the ones that you see
Yep.
throughout uh, the show quite a bit. Um, so yeah, that's the synopsis, the cast. Ben, I'm gonna throw it back at you. Tell me what you think.
All right, man. I think you did a phenomenal job of reading the cast.
Phenomenal
Like I said,
job of this
phenomenal.
of destroying their names. Yeah,
Destroying all of it, just making an
if that was
executive
the
decision
goal,
how to
I
pronounce.
did great.
Yeah, you 100% covered that. You did a great job there. All right, man. I didn't know. Did a little research before we hit record, right? I didn't know this was based on a book, right, by Thomas Perry or a novel. So shout out to Thomas
You
Perry,
don't
the
read,
author.
so
Got turned into a. I don't read at all. I listen. I listen sometimes intermittently. I intermittently listen sometimes at 1.5 times the speed. But yeah, man. Look, I initially didn't know what the show was gonna be. Like, I kind of, I read the little, like the about section and on Hulu. I was like, I'll check it out. It was Jeff Bridges. Big fan of Jeff Bridges. Didn't know it had John Lithgow in it because I didn't even like watch the trailer. I was like, I honestly just saw it because of the thumbnail with like, which is Jeff Bridges and the two dogs. I was like, yo, I'm
hmm
in. Like, I'm watching this. And then it starts out with Jeff Bridges dealing with like I don't know how much like it's always tough, right? Because it just came out, like sort of like I'm struggling like how to balance it out. I didn't know if this was gonna be like a horror show because FX tends to do that. You know what I mean? Like because it has that
they
scene
do.
in
You
the
and you
in the
don't know,
first episode. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You would know, like in that scene where uh he's like going to his bathroom when he's standing like at the door at the threshold of his bathroom when he stops. I thought
yeah,
that was
I know what you
like a
mean.
Sixth Sense scene. You know what I mean? Like I thought, so I
Right.
didn't know what that was at first. So that freaked me
But
out.
let me reel
But
you in. Let me reel you back in before you get too
all
deep
right,
into the waters.
break it down. Yeah,
Are we got to rate this first. We got to give everyone
yeah, I know.
the what we think.
Ah,
Are
this
we
is
going to stream it, skip it?
oh,
I don't
oh,
want you to go 20 minutes in and then we're like, "Oh
and
yeah,
then figure it out.
that's right.
No, 100% stream it
Stream it."
all day. Just stream the f out of this. This is a phenomenal cast. This is an amazing show. I love the world building of it that they were able to do in 7 episodes
Yes.
because the episodes are a little longer. So they
Mhm.
gave you the background and the understanding of what it was, but you still were trying to figure things out because it is like a thriller mystery, right? Like it's not just one show, right? Like it's not just gonna be
Mhm.
another 80-year-old man beating everybody up via Liam Neeson, Tom Cruise, and all that
Hey,
stuff.
70
Like,
70 years old.
sorry, sorry, I just what I mean, 80 in Hollywood years, but it is such a well done show. Jeff Bridges was look stream it 100% before I go into like the whole spiel of everything else. What about you, John? Stream it, skip it, or Wild
Well,
Wild West it?
first of all, yes, stream it. Second of all, this might be even worse because Jeff Bridges is 72 years old and he's out there
Ooh,
doing his thing.
yeah,
So we're talking about
yeah,
Liam Neeson as a 70-year-old hitman on Memory, which we may or may not review down the line. Jeff Bridges
mm-hmm.
was doing it as a 72-year-old man. I will say this.
Yeah,
So I already said stream it. Absolutely. They made, obviously he's not playing a 72-year-old, right? I'm guessing he's supposed to be playing some guy in his late 50s, maybe early 60s, which is still pretty old.
yep,
But for an operative, someone that's supposed to be out on the field. But if you when you watch the fight scenes, it looked like it was a 60 something year old guy out
yes,
there
yes,
trying to fight off whomever came at him. So it wasn't like they made him seem he wasn't the next Reacher. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Again, I don't know how
Realistic.
realistic it would be, but if you have someone with the I hate that I'm saying this, with a particular set of skills and they've been kept
No, you didn't.
sharp and
No,
they've been kept
no, you didn't.
sharp over the years, you would
Yeah,
assume that
yeah.
they would still be able to use them and defend themselves um, to an extent that their age and their body allows them to. So
Yep.
I thought that those fight scenes were well done, and sometimes they were lumbering fight scenes more on Jeff
Yep.
Bridges' part because he's not the 30-year-old guy who he's fighting against. He's an older guy. That's who he's playing. That's who he actually is. And
Hmm.
that's how he came off during the fight scenes. So I like that part.
No, I completely agree with you. Like I look, man, there was a lot of scenes in this that I like it when I watch a lot of TV, right? Obviously, other than the pod, like I watch a lot of content. I like to try to see it all as crowd my mind with as much as artistic representation as possible, right? And there was a lot of scenes in this that surprised me. Like that's hard. Like the car crash scene, right? You know the one, you know the scene I'm talking about too. You see it, like, you know what I mean? Like I didn't see that coming. Like I was like, oh, he's good. Like he did what he needed to do. Did not see that
Hmm.
twist coming. Like, and that's in the end of the first episode, right? Like towards that, like
I think so.
did not see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, dude, and it just there's in that part, and I already alluded to like the bathroom scene. Didn't see that coming, and then like the introduction of characters, but they're not characters that are forget like that don't matter. You know what I mean? Like these people, every single character that's shown brings something to the table in a different way. Like one person is the like the skeptic, like, yo, what's really going on here, and you understand
Right.
why he's a skeptic and all that stuff. You know what I mean? So like, oh, this show was so good, bro. The show, look, we're gonna get like, I don't want to like get into the weeds about this, but the dinner scene alone with Amy Brenneman and Jeff
That
Bridges,
was a hell of a scene. And the
bro.
way and the camera work, I don't want to take away from either of them, from Amy Brenneman and from Jeff Bridges' grunts,
Mm-hmm,
by saying
mm-hmm,
that the camera work, because the camera work didn't do everything, but it definitely helped establish that sort of transition.
mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
that was yeah, that was amazing. I think you told me, you said, "Hey, this you saw that episode, you had seen the show before I had, and you didn't
Mm-hmm.
tell me what happened." We just said, "Hey, you're gonna know," and yeah,
Yeah.
once you watch it, you'll know exactly what we're talking about. And look, here's the truth. Before I get any farther, the actual truth is, you just said, what was that? You try to fill your head with as much artistic representation, which is the
Expression, yeah.
biggest load of BS. I mean,
But yeah,
for what? Instead of
okay.
saying I'm a couch potato, I just want to
Yeah,
lounge around
yeah,
and watch
yeah,
TV. You want to
yes,
say I want
yeah.
to fill my head with
What
as much artistic representation as possible. Come on,
honestly,
let's just call it what it
I
is.
don't appreciate you calling me out with such effectiveness. But yes, it sounded so much better when I said it as opposed to saying like, hey man, like I just like laying on my couch. What do you want me to do? When I'm
Yeah,
not
I didn't want
cleaning
to
a
cut you
pantry
off. I
or
wanted you to keep making that point, but
yeah, I know you had it already. I appreciate you. I appreciate you keeping that in the holster. I want to jump back to something you said real quick. You're 100% right about the fight scenes. Like, I just want to give you credit on that. Like, it's not supposed to be like just because he's Jeff Bridges that he's gonna kill you with one punch. You know what I mean? Or just because he's Liam Neeson or you know what I mean? Like, those fights need to
right.
be effective in a way that like are also realistic to his age because he's been out of the game for a while, right? He's
Hmm.
been, you know what I mean? He hasn't been doing it. Like what the difference was to me, right? Like he had like the people he was fighting were effective fighters, but the difference was Jeff Bridges' character Dan Chase, under many other names, he had something to fight for, right? Which was his daughter. So he had like that's what I think gave him the, I don't know, the advantage in those moments.
Sort of
Like
an upper hand.
he had to like pick himself up. Yeah, he had to
They
pick himself up.
underestimated him too.
Yeah, because he's a 70-year-old man. Like you're thinking,
Right.
like I'm 20 something years old, fresh out of the academy. I'm gonna whoop this guy's ass. Like there's nothing to worry about here. And then then you find out that no, there would be something because he has two Rottweilers that are that are incredibly effective.
And
And
that was
yeah,
a great. I thought that was great that they did that because it sort of gave it a little bit more realism, right? That this guy, he's not
hmm
fending everyone off. He's got these two trained Rottweilers that at
yep,
at one whistle, at whatever pitch the whistle is or one word, they know exactly what to do. Whether it's to
hmm
stay calm, to pull you out of a whatever burning car or whatever the situation is, or to attack on command. And
yep,
so that I thought I liked that aspect of it that they brought that into it. I so I didn't run this by you before the show
yeah. Which
because
we
I
try
want to
not to.
talk about I want to
Yeah,
talk about the what the different episodes, not the entire series, and we try to keep it on a timeline for the most part
right.
while not spoiling it for everyone. But I want to get to a
hmm
point where we can talk in vagueness and generalities, and then we can say,
Yep.
hey, look, guys, from here on out,
The spoiler,
there's gonna be some spoilers
spoiler
because
heavy.
we want to
Yep,
if you really want to hear about it, we'll talk about it in detail.
yep.
Let me know what you think. If not, we'll keep talking in generalities and vagueness. We already
Do you want to
gave
go
them the
spoiler now?
straight up
I'm
answer.
I'm, I'm ready.
Stream it, right?
Yeah, yeah. You want to go spoiler right now? You want to go spoiler heavy talk right now?
We
I'm
can go
ready.
spoiler heavy talk. I'll put the I'll put it up on the screen
Yeah,
so
on the
everyone
caption
knows.
there.
Yeah.
Hey guys, we're about to go deep dive into this. So we're gonna give a lot of the show away. So if you don't want to listen to that, come back to pause it, come back to it after you've watched it, and check out our yeah. Now you started off. I don't want to. You were ready to go spoiler heavy, so you started off. What you got?
First of all,
Yeah,
I don't know how long it took you to figure out who the daughter was before they were talking.
yeah.
I I got that feeling. That part of the show I didn't think was too
Well hidden.
hidden.
Yep.
Yeah, or at least to me, I didn't think it was well hidden. And then the other parts dealing with her, with Angela slash Emily slash whatever other names she used, I think those are the only ones she
hmm
used in the show, were when she was not at the attorney's before they got to the meeting with the attorney, but when they were at his office and he was talking to Waters, talking about how her mother was, a whore, opportunistic. She wanted to get to the
Yep.
U.S., whatever it was, and she's like, "Stop it!"
hmm
Like immediately got a reaction out of her. I was like, "Well,
hmm
you would think that for someone that's used to just dropping a name and picking up another name and living under an assumed identity,
Right.
that granted it's your mother who you've never met, that you would be able to control those emotions considering what's at stake." And
Right.
so like that too they it was a plot, it's like a plot device because they used it later on again when she lost control during the meeting with the attorney where Harold Harper kind of realized, oh, she might not be who I think she is, or
Are you
she's who I
saying?
think
Hold on.
or
Wait.
she might be who I've been suspecting she was, but I wasn't sure. She might be his daughter, or she might be a mole, or she might be a plant or whatever, because
Okay.
she
All
was
right.
too
So
easily
just
they too easily gave that away.
all right. So just being clear, you didn't see the final turn, right? Like I don't know if you're not saying you saw the final. You're saying that like you knew that was let's go like at that point where you're watching it in that part of the show, you knew that she was
Mhm.
Dan Chase's daughter, like Jeff Bridges' daughter, and
Before
not
then, before they had those scenes where she kind of loses it, and
yeah
they
yeah yeah
show her going out and talking on the phone in the parking lot and not parking garage. I
okay
had a feeling it was her. So I mean, I guess it was well hidden, but I kind of had a feeling because you would think she would make an appearance at some point, and this
yep
being them, this being the fact that he's a CIA operative, Harper was a CIA station chief, it kind of makes sense that they're playing all these other games. Why wouldn't she, this, Angela, be this person as well? Maybe she was planted there, and you find out that she was planted by Boat,
yep
who is the
yeah
old man. That's
yeah.
the one that I was by the old man who I was like, okay, that I guess that is the old man. I wasn't sure that was him,
I
but
thought the old man was
they
Jeff
finally
Bridges.
referred to him as that. I
Yeah
thought so too. I thought that
yeah
was it until they called Boat the old man. I was like, oh, okay.
yeah. Okay, all right, good. I'm glad you said that. Yes, I agree with you that it wasn't as well hidden. Like I knew, I'll say this, like I knew that she would be in there somewhere, like undercover in a way, more than
Hmm.
like I didn't think she would be like the direct to Harper. You know what I'm saying? Like I thought she'd be there somehow and like be introduced later and become closer to Harper. You get what I'm saying? Like I didn't think that
Hmm.
like she was put into that like specific space because of this like random thing where she like punched her director or whatever, her like supervisor,
Right.
because he kept calling. You know what I mean? Like those
Yeah.
moments I didn't see, but I didn't see like well, we're going real spoiler. I didn't see the final twist. Like I didn't see that part come until like he was having the conversation with Harper at the end.
Where he what?
I don't want to. I don't know if I want to give that. I don't know if I want to give that part away. Like I think you know what I mean. Like you know what I mean. Like I didn't. I didn't see. Fuck it. All right, we're going in. Yeah, I want F. Yeah, I didn't see her being the like of the third person's daughter. You know what I'm saying? Like actual daughter. Like
That oh,
I
so
didn't
that
see her
one,
doing. Like
I
I didn't.
saw that one. I kind of figured that. I mean, once they hint at it, right? When they talk about, and again, we're going spoiler here. So if you're not watching and you're
Yeah.
listening, and for whatever reason you haven't jump in at the 20-minute mark, 25-minute mark,
Yeah.
still heavy spoilers. But when they talk
Yeah.
about a third seat on that flight, you
Yes.
remember that
Well,
piece
yeah.
where the attorney's
Then
like,
yeah.
where's the
Yeah.
seat?
Yeah.
And you still don't know, but then because they never show her as a little girl the entire time. So you don't know. You just see her. Eventually, you find out halfway through the show, a few episodes in, that she's Zan Chase's daughter and she's working for Harper and this and that. But you never see her as a little girl up until I think the last episode, like the last 15, 20
Where
minutes of
they
the
take
last
when they
episode.
literally take her out of the crib. When they literally like when she's like what 3 or 4 years
Was
old, 2 or 3 years old, or
she's like
whatever she
4
is.
years old, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I was
Yeah. Like what?
so before then I kind of was
Yeah.
thinking, I was like, wait, so what was that, episode 4 when Harper's involved? 5, like
Mm-hmm.
they there's something else. What is it? And I was like, I think she might not be his daughter, like biological daughter. She's
Yeah.
the same to Harper as she is to Chase, or someone they
Yeah.
raised.
Yeah.
Not only that, but when she
Yeah.
comes back at the very end, and they by the way, they bought a second season for this uh back in June. So it's just a matter of when they're going to start filming it and when they'll release it. But there will be a season 2 for this show. You
You
know
know
how she
what?
tells Harper, I'm going back to to kill him or whatever. You can't be there. You need to have
Yeah.
deniability. But when she gets out of that car, there's
She feels at home.
something about her that
Yeah.
to me it's not like I'm going to kill or hurt this guy. There's something about her that she might radicalize. I don't know.
I don't know if it's radicalized. I think she felt something in that, like when she got to the, like she looked around like this was somehow familiar, like she'd been there before.
Right.
And like I don't think she
Uh-huh.
knew because she didn't know she was Farah Hamza's daughter. And you know what though?
Hmm.
I'll tell you this. I don't like. I know you're telling me and looked it up. Like I don't know if this needed a season 2. Like I think this was a perfect like mini series, and I think it ended perfectly. Like I think we talked about that before,
Hmm.
where like sometimes shows can just end and be good. Like there's a show that I used to watch on HBO that had 10 episodes called Lovecraft Country. Right, it's a perfect
Hmm.
10 episode thing, a 10 episode run. Doesn't need to be more than that. I don't need a second season. I don't think I needed a second season from this, just because I thought it ended perfectly. Like I don't need the answers of does Chase go back with Amy Brenneman's character. Like I don't, you know what I mean? I don't need that happy ending because this isn't a happy ending show. This is a
No.
spy thriller mixed in with like trying to be a parent. You get what I'm saying? Like it's not just one thing.
I kind of do want the second season, not for the a happy ending or whatever it is, but the way that Harper and Jeff Bridges and Dan Chase walk off, sort of shoulder slumped. Like, it was very
They gotta go get their girl back.
anticlimactic the way that it
Yep.
ended.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And but also I think it's because, and that's selfish on my part. Some of the books, a lot of the books I read are that type. They're thrillers, they're spy novels, they're they're that type of genre. And so when it's really well done on TV, I kind of want to see more of it because I don't watch them that much on television, but I read a lot of the books. And so, yeah,
Right.
when it's something that's what I haven't actually, I didn't actually read this book, this novel, but when a spy thriller is really well done, I want more of it. So I'm hoping that they
I
release season 2 early next year.
yeah yeah. I mean, I definitely. I mean, I'm gonna watch it, but I thought it ended perfectly. But dude, like, I thought the acting was just otherworldly. Like it was,
Yeah.
it was so good, man. It was so good. Like, bro, when two of my favorite scenes of the year besides the bear, right? So for me, the bear, the long speech, right? The 10-minute speech, Amy
Yeah.
Brenneman's dinner scene, and when Jeff Bridges goes, "Rich people don't explain shit," bro.
That's one
Like,
line.
bro, like that's all I needed for this year. I don't care what else I see. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that, those three moments are some of the best I've seen. I was like, that's perfect because it's so true. Amy Brenneman goes, but I'm dressed like this. How do I explain this? Mm, rich people don't explain
Mhm.
shit. Bam, just fucking mic drop. Just and that moment, he should the night should have ended record. Like they should have stopped filming and just been like, all right, everybody go home. We can't top this. Let's just
That's
let's
it.
everybody
Yeah.
just go home. Jeff Bridges, yeah. Let's call it a night, bro. That was perfection. I thought the show was phenomenal, bro. Like I thought the show was so good. John Lithgow,
So who's your favorite
phenomenal in it. Like,
character?
mm, I mean, it's so easy. Look, it's easy to go Jeff Bridges, right? Jeff Bridges to me is my MVP of this series. But
Hmm.
I thought what John Lithgow brought on in that airplane when he's like legitimately showing heart, I thought John Lithgow was phenomenal. Like I thought John Lithgow was
Right.
my favorite character on the show because like he's dealing with the loss of his actual biological son and daughter-in-law that were killed in a car accident. Who knows if that was by accident? That's you know what I mean. Who knows? That's the old man
Right.
could have been doing something to get some things emotional for Raz Hamzat, but
Exactly.
that scene in the airplane when he's like, I don't even know what the f to call you. Like, who are you? Like, I don't know who you are. Like, how long have you been? You know what I mean? Like, he's like has
Hmm.
anger and all, and she's like, I'm still that same person that did this, and this, and I was like, holy shit! Like like where you're sitting across from that, like I'm watching Angela Adams, right? Angela, whatever her name is,
That's what she. Yeah, that's what she
Angela.
portrays here, Angela.
Yeah, and sitting across from that, I'm looking at it. I was like, that must have been so intense watching John Lithgow go ham in that moment. And you're like, am I really like, did I really hurt him? You know what I mean? Like, you have to like be asking
Yeah.
yourself that. John Lithgow is my favorite character for me
Well,
in this one.
your favorite. Your so Harold Harper is your favorite character. John Lithgow is your
Yes,
favorite
Harold
actor.
Harper.
Got
Yeah,
it. Okay.
yeah, yeah,
And but
yeah.
that scene was powerful from both ends, not just him but her, because you
Yes.
realize that she says she's the same person who he's known for whatever the last 20 years, but the truth is, and she admits this later on, she doesn't know who she is. She's trying to
Hmm.
figure that out herself.
Yep.
And man, so I'm going to say I don't even know why, but Julian, the hitman, is
Oh
my
yeah,
favorite character.
yeah.
Yeah,
He was good. He was good.
he
It
was
sucks that he
he
won't
was
be in
good.
season
Did
two. Oh no, he
he?
will. He will. He's not dead. He's not dead.
He's not. It was the other dude, Mike,
Yeah,
his
the other dude.
partner,
Yeah,
his spotter, his intel
and
guy, his
the
medic. I don't know.
his skeptic too, and the skeptic guy is dead too. I
And
can't remember the name.
who are you talking about? You're talking about
Waters?
Waters, the other
Yeah,
CIA
Waters.
guy.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
he,
was a skeptic.
yeah.
What do you mean a skeptic of what?
He was skeptical of everything John Lithgow and
Oh yeah,
Angela
yeah,
were doing.
yeah. He's the guy that
Yeah,
asked why. Like
yeah.
that was
That's his thing.
his reputation. Like a kid,
Yeah.
why?
Why?
Yeah, the
Why?
annoying guy.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, so he should be in part in the second season because he wasn't killed that we know of. They didn't show him die on screen. And I liked his character. It was understated, I guess you could say.
Yep.
You know, and also I guess it plays on the fact that he was, I think, former Army JSOC. I think the
Hmm.
path that that a lot of these guys take. I'm not saying that they become hitmen, but a lot of these guys go into private, private security,
Yep.
a lot of special forces, JSOC guys, and obviously this took it to an extreme. Not that it doesn't happen. I'm sure a lot of these guys go and do work for different three-letter agencies. So I
Yep.
liked that
Hmm.
little the sort of plot device. You know how they took that. They actually mentioned an actual uh, army unit, 10th Mountain.
Yep.
It's like, okay, they it's a good thing. A
They,
lot of shows will make up names and then they'll show weird ranks. Like someone will be a general wearing sergeant rank or some ridiculousness.
yep.
But
Yep.
yeah, I
Well
like the
researched for
time that he
sure.
was on screen. Yeah, the time that he was on screen. Again, it was
He needed more
understated. He
time.
have a ton of lines. I wish he
Yeah.
would have had more time, but he's there for a particular, like a specific assignment, right? He's a hitman, so they're not. I guess they're not supposed to be heard. You see them doing their thing, and he had a few
Hmm.
lines, and then you see him kind of contemplating. Well, more so you know,
His partner,
his
the
partner than
spotter.
anything.
Yep.
But they both are contemplating what they should be doing, thinking about we've had, a really good run. Maybe we should quit while we're ahead, kind of thing.
Yep. Yep.
This isn't, and I mentioned that because the other movie I saw, that type of lifestyle, you don't retire from that. You get retired.
No. Yeah. Yeah.
You're if you
You get put
so
down.
you get
Yeah.
put
Yeah.
down or age catches up to you or whatever it is. But that's how that works. You don't get a pension and get to go off to the Bahamas or something. But I really did like his character. Wasn't the strongest or this powerful force on screen like John Lithgow or Bridges, but yeah, that was my favorite character.
I think that's why though, right? I think that's why he didn't get as much time and as much space as he needed because you have two monsters in Jeff
Exactly.
Bridges and John Lithgow, right? When they're in it, like you can see that like it's a different class. It's I don't want to say varsity and JV because that's disrespectful to his acting skills and the character. But
Right.
there's a class above. Like there's just levels to this shit, and what Jeff Bridges and John Lithgow brought was just and to her credit, Angela's character, right? She
Yeah.
she killed it as well. Like the old man again was another one that I would have loved to have seen more of, but I guess if they're going to a season two, it makes sense that they didn't go back to him after that diner scene. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
because it's like it's one of those things like, oh, that's the old man. Like because the whole time we were watching, it, like, oh, okay, the old man's Jeff Bridges because he's old and
Right.
he's the
Right.
one doing all this gangster shit. But yeah, it was a really dude. It was so good. It was so good, and I don't think I'm gonna read the novels because now I just want to like experience the movie or the show without having it spoiled. Because if you read the book, you're gonna know what happens, even though you still want to see it portrayed. But and also I don't read. Who am I lying? Who
Yeah.
am I
You
lying
don't
to?
read,
I don't.
and let me
I don't read.
also say this: there's a podcast out there, the Dan Lebatard podcast. There's a certain person. It's a
Yeah,
Jessica. How do you say her name?
Smetana. Smetana.
Smetana,
Yeah, that
who
spoils
says
all of.
that who spoils all the shows, but also
Yes,
says, I believe she's the one that says this, or maybe it's someone else on the show, that listening to
there's only one
audiobooks
woman.
is equal to reading.
There's
I disagree. It's a
100%.
you
It's not.
listen to a book, that's great, but it's not reading. Let's come
Yeah,
on. Let's stop
it's
saying
not
that.
reading. No, it's not.
You're a
Yeah,
good
no.
listener.
Well, there's only one.
Maybe.
Yeah, there's only one woman on the show, so that is her. Yeah, that's her that said it. Yeah, they spoil every show. They spoiled the bear like as it's happening. Like who does that? They spoiled Better Call Saul the day after it ended. What? Why would you? Why would you do that, bro? Like who? Like the moment it's over, you're just gonna tweet about it or mention it or like no, you can't do that. And then if you're listening to a podcast, you don't know. That's why in this episode, right, one of our few spoiler alert heavy episodes, we wanted to be sure to tell you that we were going to spoil it. Like we didn't want to just start talking about it in depth and
Right.
breaking the scenes down and talking about the characters without letting you know. So if you stayed locked in throughout this whole thing, still watch it because there's a lot of it that we didn't tell you. We kind of told you the twist, but the acting and the portrayal of the characters is what we're seeing it. The Amy Brenneman character growth alone, though, like sound like they
Right.
show her one like if you really think about it, she was never the same after that camera panned over. You
No
know what I
way.
mean? She was like this single older woman who divorcee who's like, oh, let me just take this guy out as a
Broken.
thank you, and then comes over and broken and is just bro. And that other dinner scene where she's like, "I'm gonna take everything. I want half of everything you have.
I want half. Yeah, half.
I
Let me
want
get
half,
half.
half." Yeah. Oh, beautiful. Just she was never the same after that. I didn't think about that till right now, like till we were talking about it. I was like, I want to make sure to mention that because she was never the same
But
after
Jeff
that camera.
Bridges, yeah, she wasn't. And Jeff Bridges
Uh-uh.
enables it though, and he sees it and he exploits it because he
Hmm.
says, "Hey, you have this gift, and you see things, and you see weaknesses, and he uses it." I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, she goes to Zach's house to get him
I would have
the
loved to see
money
that
and the investment
conversation.
that he needs. Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's one of those conversations that you who knows what she's that's how it's
Yeah.
supposed to be. You want to see
Yeah.
it, but you don't want to see it because it leaves that up to the viewer to figure
Yeah.
out what it is
Like
that she told him.
yeah, like what? Because he was so dismissive at first, and then she knocks at the door. She goes, "I'm not done yet."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Oh." Like when Jeff Bridges goes to her, like you, like almost goes, you have this ability to not give a damn about other people's feelings and just manipulate them to your will. And
Hmm.
she's like, I could. He goes, I could show you how to train yourself to control that better. But once you turn it on, you can't ever turn it off.
Yeah. You can't put the
You
genie
can't.
back in the bottle.
You can't put the genie back in the bottle. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. It's over. Like that's it. Like that's all you're ever gonna do. Your every conversation you ever have is gonna be, am I manipulating them or are they manipulating me? You'll never trust again. It's all gone and dead. Huh,
Yeah.
bro. And it's just, and again, we're doing like the long form version of that conversation. It was like 4 lines from Bridges, from Dan Chase. Like it was very quickly spit out. Oh, it was such a good show, man. Such
It
a good
really
show.
was. And
Really
look,
was. I could read.
if they didn't have a season two, I would be happy with it too.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
again, because I'm selfishly, I like the genre, the movies, the
Right.
shows, the novels. I want to see
Right.
more. If when it's well done like this, who knows? They do a
Hmm.
season two, and then you're like, maybe they should have just left it at season one. But
Yeah.
we'll see. You won't know until you watch.
Listen, man. I'm thinking about it right now as we're talking about it. They gotta have a season 2 because I need to see those Rottweilers again. Like they're still at the doggy hotel. You know what I mean? Like
That's
I need
right.
that moment back where like they run to Dan Chase and like jump on him and like they jump right in the truck. I need that moment because bro,
Or
like
maybe they go to Amy
keeping it a
Brenneman,
buck. The
Zoe.
keeping it a buck. Like I hate when they have animals in movies because I've seen enough of those moments where the dogs are killed or harmed in some way
Yeah.
or I don't need that. You know what I mean? Like in Prey that we didn't want to talk about, right? And Prey like they didn't have that. I was like, no, why? I was like, especially when there's a predator. I was like, come on, man, like
Hmm.
don't do this to me. So I'm glad they didn't. The dogs weren't hurt. Those dogs were so badass,
Yeah.
bro. That scene where they pan over, like when the cars flipped over, and you kind of had an idea the dogs are still running. It was like they're not gonna be running this long because they're driving for a while, and then
Right.
they're fighting, and then he just like says the command. Whew, boy, I was like, this is. I was hooked from then. I was hooked, and that was like episode 1. That was the end of the first episode.
It
Fire,
was. Yeah.
just just such a good one. I got nothing else, JV. You got something else you want to say
No,
about
man. I think
Old
I
Man on
don't want to
Hulu?
spoil it any. No, I don't want to spoil it any farther. I mean, the fact that there are so many games going back and forth. I
Hmm.
guess I'll say this: even though we gave all these spoilers or spoke specifically about certain scenes, you don't know who's who. Like, what are they up to, and what side are they on?
Yep.
And the
Still don't know. And
attorney.
we
I didn't
watched
know
the whole
what
thing.
role she played.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't know what role she played. What her relationship to Hamzad was like. Why she like she had a. It seems like she had an intimate relationship or a very close relationship. You just don't know. The daughter. There are a lot of things that, like you said, if they ended it, there's a lot of unanswered questions. But it was so well done that you don't need everything answered. But at the same time, because of all the games that they're playing, and
Hmm.
John Lithgow, Harold Harper refers to it. This is the game, and it's a dangerous one, and that's the fun part of the game. You're trying to figure out what's what and who's who, and that
Hmm.
goes on the entire show. And there are so many unanswered questions because that's that was the game. So
Yep.
even though we spoiled a lot of stuff, we didn't give you a fraction of what what goes on the show. Like there
No,
are a
we
lot
didn't
of
give
things that
anything.
you'll watch that we didn't touch on
Yep.
that you'll be like, wait, what? Oh, I didn't know that this person really was. There is so much, right? To do this
Yeah.
show
We
justice, we
gave
would have to
you.
do a podcast
Yeah.
episode for every episode of the show.
Yeah.
We gave you
Like.
gave you spoilers enough to get you interested, but not enough to ruin the
Yeah.
show for you.
Like we overall, we probably just talked about 7 minutes of the entire 7 episode, hour and 10 minute per episode thing. Like we
Yeah.
talked about it, and yes, we gave away some of the twist, but
Hmm.
even then, you don't see everything because it's like when there has to be. I don't want to talk about it anymore, like the spoilers, but it has to be such an addiction, right, to play that game because Harold Harper and Dan Chase are not young guys. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like they're in their late 60s, early 70s, or however, whatever age their characters are supposed to be, and
Hmm.
they're still in it, man. They're still tapped in. Like Dan Chase could be completely removed, but he's getting information from his daughter. You know what I mean? Like, and still wanting to know what's what. Like he could have just been an old man in Vermont and just being that guy, but he wasn't.
Right.
So
Right. Well,
kudos to the
right. He
show, man.
wasn't
It
just
was
Dan Chase, which you find out
yeah,
later.
he wasn't just Dan Chase. He was so many other things. Crazy. All right, guys. I got nothing else. JV, wrapped it up well. What you got?
I'm good. I'm
All
good.
right, guys.
That's
Catch
all
you
I
next
got.
time. Peace.
Thanks for listening to Streamophile. Directed by John. Executive producer Ben and John. Created by Ben and John. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.